Hello everyone, my name is Humberto Moro. I am curator for the new proposal section, and I'm very happy to introduce today the team of the Sharjah Foundation and Bienal that are here with us. We have Hoor Qasimi, who's the president and director of the Sharjah Art Foundation. She is a curator and practicing artist who received a BFA from the Slade School of Fine Art in London, a diploma in painting from the Royal Academy of Arts, London, and an MA in curating contemporary art from the Royal College of Art in London also. In 2003, she was appointed curator of the Sharjah Biennial and has since continued as the biennial director. Qasimi serves on the board of directors at MoMA PS1, at the KW Institute for Contemporary Art Berlin, Ashkal Alwan in Beirut, Darat Al Funun in Amman. She is the president of the International Biennial Association, chair of the advisory board for the College of Art and Design, University of Sharjah, and member of the advisory board for COI International Artists Association in New Delhi. She is currently member of the Prince Claus Award Committee and serves as a member of the jury for the Bonafenten Award of Contemporary Art. Qasimi has previously served on the juries and prizes panel for the Maria Lassen Prize, the Media City Seoul Prize, the Hepworth Wakefield Prize for Sculpture, the Berlin International Film Festival, Berlinale Shorts, Video Brazil, Dubai International Film Festival, and Venice Prize. Recent curatorial projects include major retrospectives like Hassan Sharif, I Am a Single Work Artist, Yayoi Kusama, Dog Obsessions, Robert Breer, Time Flies, among others. Also with us, we have artist John Rafman. John Rafman was born in 1981 in Montreal, Canada. He studied philosophy and literature at McGill University in Montreal and received an MFA from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. His work explores the impact of technology and contemporary consciousness, incorporating the rich vocabulary of virtual words to create poetic narratives that critically engage with the present. Rafman's recent solo shows exhibition include Dream Journal 2016-17 at Spurt Magazine in Berlin, I Have 10,000 Compound Eyes, and each is named Suffering at the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam, and the Zabludovsky collection in London. His work has been featured in prominent international group exhibitions, including Leonard Cohen, A Crack in Everything, at the Musée d'Art Contemporain in Montreal, K11 Art Shanghai, Suspended Animation in Toulouse, and the Sharjah Biennial. He recently created a video for the production of Albert Gangstera opera Bon Marzo at the Teatro Real in Madrid. Also, we were supposed to be joined by our friend and co-curator of the next Sharjah Biennial, Omar Khalif, but unfortunately, due to unexpected weather conditions, he didn't make it. Omar is an amazing curator, a really good friend, and he is a writer and curator whose work focuses on the intersection of art and global politics and emerging technologies. He's the Manilo Senior Curator and Director of Global Initiatives at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, and previously he was curator at the Whitechapel Gallery in London and Senior Curator at Corner House, Manchester. He was Artistic Director at the Arab British Centre in London and founding director at the UK Arab Film Festival. So it is my pleasure to leave you with Hoor and John, and we're going to have some material from Omar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. I know we're running a little bit late, so we'll try to keep it short. A lot of you probably know some of the works I'm going to show, but I wanted to briefly introduce the history of Sharjah Art Foundation and Sharjah Biennial. So Sharjah Biennial actually started in 1993 in this location, which is it's called the Expo Center. It was a tent, and it was almost set up like a fair, but it had country representation, and artists from different parts of the world. So it was, these are images I found online, as you can see. So it was nice to find them. So when I joined in 2002, they were already moving into a new building, a big modern building. And I was questioning a lot of things because I witnessed Documenta 11, and I realized that biennial should really follow this kind of focus, this kind of critique, and we weren't getting it with this biennial. It was almost, as I said, like an art fair and a biennial put together. So I decided to move away, as much away from that building as we can, and incorporate a lot of the works into the old, into the old city. This slide is a little bit old because the building is finished now since 2013, but it's my favorite angle of this. So what we did is we started using a lot of the heritage area, which is the oldest part of Sharjah, and trying to incorporate the art back into that area, as it was known as the arts area and heritage area. So here you get a glimpse of the buildings that we started building in 2009 when we completely moved out of the expo center, because we didn't want to be associated with a trade fair. We would have an exhibition, and then the hall next to us they would be having a jewelry fair. So, seeing audiences going there and not coming this way, it was very depressing. And then the whole ticketing as well was something we didn't want people to feel like you had to go through barriers. We wanted the art to be accessible and not for people who are on their way to see it. So actually in this location it's accidental. Even if you're not going to see art, you're going to see art just walking through. So we worked a lot with artists to create site-specific projects. It's very important for us, especially visiting a lot of biennials. You end up seeing the same projects happening in many biennials. It's reoccurring. So how can you make it unique to the location? How can you interact with the local population? So this is again an old picture because it was 2009. Many things have changed since then. But outside the building over there, I don't know if there's a pointer to this, is our offices, and outside we always had children playing football and cricket. So Maida Lopez created a football field, but you can see the lampposts are interrupting the football field. And the funny thing is, even with the football field, they still were playing cricket in the football field. So, and this installation stayed for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Another project, which was also a long-term project, was by Artist Collective Camp from India. So they did a project working with the sailors who dock their ships. You can see the ships on the road there. So in 2009, they worked with the sailors to trace their roots and their stories. And then they applied for a production grant in 2012 to continue the project and have a second chapter to it. But since they did that, the boats were actually moved further along the creek. So now you have the water and a boat that takes you across. So this project that they did from Gulf to Gulf to Gulf are the stories of the sailors as filmed by their mobile phone cameras. And it was screened right on the streets close to where they dock their ships, or where they used to dock their ships. So every night you would have the sailors and friends coming to watch this screening that's in the public space. And then you'd have people coming out of the market, which is that roofed place, who happened to see people watching this, and then they would stop. Interesting thing about this is a lot of the people who work in the area follow our program for years. They come to the performances because they can leave their shops, they're close by. And I remember one gentleman saying to me, "Could you put on another film? I've seen this film every night now." And I said, "Well, we have the cinema, but it's on the other side." And he said, "But my shop is here, I can't go too far." So that was really interesting, this idea of him coming to watch this every night. And then in the other market, we had this other project, which was a carpet weaved from cigarette butts. that were collected and split up by Rafman, and there were a few of these carpets spread out along in the city. That Superflex have done before in Copenhagen, and Yuko Hasegawa really liked that project and wanted to bring it to Sharjah. Sharjah is a very multicultural society. There are people from everywhere living there, and the idea of this project is asking people about memories of public furniture from their home countries that they would like to bring to Sharjah. So they created this park called Bank, where they incorporated like a swing from Pakistan, or beach tables from Egypt, slide from somewhere else. So you get this multicultural park, but through memories of people and their public furniture. Another project in 2007, Soy Project, where again they interacted with people in the street to create fruit out of origami. So they already had it cut up, you would just make it and trade it for real fruit. And what was interesting about this, the market sellers on the street also took a lot of these papers and started working on these while they were manning their shops, and then coming out to trade it for real fruit. Another project also by Yuko Hasegawa's Bienal in 2013 was the Office Kirsten Geer's David Van Severen. So they did 3 of these oases around the heritage area, each one with a unique feeling. This one had a water fountain, and next to it is a mosque. So this plot of land is not ours. We always have to talk to different people in the city to let us borrow locations, and it's a parking lot that we can use for a while. But what was interesting about this is the people in the mosque asked us to keep it because they really liked the green trees. They didn't like the fencing, so they removed the fencing. But they liked the idea of having a water fountain, and so that stayed until this year. They had to. Oops. A lot of the projects we do are temporary, because I find that if things are permanent, the public or the young people who grow up in the area tend to ignore them. They just live with it, they don't question it, they don't get excited about what's happening. But knowing that the biennial happens every 2 years, there's always this intrigue, especially when artists are installing or technicians are installing. But this one became permanent. This was a project by Oli Shireen and Epijipon, where they were asked to design a cinema, where we had a film program. And actually this is now our permanent cinema. It's an open air cinema, and it's supposed to resemble a roof terrace. And it's all free and open to the public. And we do music and other performances there, you can see. Another thing that we're also trying to do is save a lot of the buildings, the modernist buildings from the 70s that have risk of being demolished or turned into something dreadful. This is an iconic building called the Flying Saucer. It was a French bakery in the 70s, a supermarket in the 80s. It kept changing hands, and then in the 2000s it became a fast food chicken place. We actually took it over, kept renting it to those people so that we can get some income to renovate the building. But before renovating, Hassan Khan used it for the 12th biennial and did this project called UFO. So he tried to use as much of the cladding and he put these stained glass stickers and colors. It doesn't look like this now. Another building that we've been working on renovating for a while is on the east coast of Sharjah. So that one, this would be just under a 2-hour drive from the first location, and it's on the coast of Oman, and it's on an environmental protected area, environmentally protected. All these mangroves are protected. And it was a precast building from the 70s, German, for fish feed, but it was never used. And the fishermen started storing ice there, so it was known as the ice factory. And I really wanted to use it before renovating it, because it's nice to get a sense of the building before turning it into something else. And finally, Adrian Belagapa was the right person to do it. So he did this project where he spent a couple of months in Kalba, and you can see he collected a lot of things from the area, created these pillars and towers, which disintegrated after a while. Here's the pictures, people sent me, which is nice. Another building is the cinema in another East Coast town. It's called Hoor Cinema. It's still the only cinema in town from the 70s. It's been closed for a while now, and we're trying to bring it back to working cinema with an education program, a film school, and all of that. But again, we wanted artists to interact with it. Everybody wants to interact with it. Shazia Skander did this project in the 11th Biennial, 2013, called Parallax, where it was the story about the caretaker of the cinema in animation. So you can see the pictures there. Performance is also a really big thing for us. We've been working with Tara Atwi for a long time. This engagement with artists working over a period of time is really important for us, this relationship, because artists come back and create different things, and people in the community know them, especially with education and workshops. So we started working with him on a project in 2009 and asked him to take part in some education program with the deaf children, with the deaf school. So he got really interested in sound and deafness, so he continued working in this field until today. He's still doing that. And he did this drumming performance called Within, with drummers from all over the world, because the students in the school said that the drums were the sound that they liked the most because of the vibrations. Ernesto Neto, When Culture Moves Us Apart. What was funny about this story is we had a freak storm. We get a lot of storms around that time, and this is one project that the public demanded we reinstall after it had collapsed. So we had to bring it back. So it was really beautiful to have that. Papi Abutane's funeral brass. So you had all these people in the public marching, and people in the crowd actually started joining in. People were leaving their shops and joining this fanfare, funeral fanfare, as you can see. Oscar Murillo. Again, this is in one of the oldest spaces that we have. It's an old house called It's Sinkar, and every biennial the installation there changes. But for me, I found this one the most exciting because he really took out all the brick from the ground that we had spent a lot of time renovating. Rainbow and Eric Chen, this is the same location as the first slide that I showed with the football field. So that one was more inviting. This one is the complete opposite. They're police shields from Taiwan. Inside you have a lot of the local trees, like a sanctuary, but you have to look through all of these shields from the other side and walk up a ramp and enter. So again, most of the time artists do things that are more inviting. So this one was really interesting, that it was supposed to deter people, but if they spent time and got close to it, they would discover something more inviting on the inside. Mark Bradford is the untitled boy. Just the way it's kind of Slavs and Tatars, Friendship of Nations. So this is very, very site-specific because it also refers to, they do a lot about Shia culture, and it's located next to an important Shia mosque in Sharjah. People in India and Pakistan used to play on a neutral ground, and a lot of the population in Sharjah are South Asian. Half the population are South Asian. So even though the Emirati national, they don't really play cricket, but cricket is the biggest sport there. So he created this cricket stadium on the scale of like a child scale, because it's children that play the cricket everywhere. But it's talking about cricket and colonialism, and actually people play football in that one. They play cricket on the football. Tonico did project on medicinal herbs and plants. So we use a lot of these old buildings that we have So a lot of this is the oldest part of the city, and I would say also the oldest part of the country. So it was really important for us to save these buildings from being gentrified or turned into commercial things, and try to use them differently in biennials or exhibitions. Damian Ortega, the talking wall. And lots of people interacting with that. Lucia Koch. So this is the same space. You can see that. It's the same space. Oops. Gabriel Orozco, standing on the table. From Yuko's Biennial, Pedro Reyes. I put a lot of the Mexican artists so that people can. Carlos Amarella's project was also very interesting. So we use a lot of courtyards. We have a lot of courtyard spaces. There is always risk of rain at the time of the biennial, but so far we've had very few fatalities. So but you can see the people who engage with them as they were passing through the space. Autobahn in Canberra, sorry, there's a typo on that one. So this building now is turned into offices. It used to be a museum. We were the last people to use it for this installation and performance by Autobahn. Abraham did this project in the animal and bird market with falcons. Sorry, the falcon's head's cut off. Eduardo Terrazas. I'm gonna Jonah made the curtain. I have too many pictures, I had to cut it down. But I wanted you to really get the sense of location, the sense of the space, because it's very difficult to explain this with each installation. So Hegu did this installation, but I'll show you another installation in the same location. So Mario Garcia Torres did the same thing in a similar location. So he built this kind of shack in this location and had an installation over there. And now I'm going to continue with John. I only had 2 images on my computer, but we were very interested in John's work when we saw the installation at the Berlin Biennial. It was my first virtual reality experience, and I was very interested in really having John come to Sharjah to do something, because I feel this is something that we're lacking, this virtual reality in our biennials and our exhibition, and it could really bring a different audience to us, a new audience. So for that I'm going to continue to John. Thank you. Omar is going to, we have a short video by Omar, 6 minutes, I'm told. And then John will stay.
So for the artwork especially, I find it extremely important to make the pieces site-specific, because I feel like what's most unique about VR is its actual the physical effect it has on the viewer or the experiencer. And what I like to do is disorient the viewer, the experiencer, in that I start off my VR experiences by creating a virtual simulacra of the actual physical space they are in when they put on their VR headset. And what that does is, I think it makes the experiencer comfortable in feeling that the physical space they're in is matching up with the space in which they're experiencing in VR. But by doing that, I could then sort of screw with the mind of the experiencer in that by becoming comfortable in that the space, it corresponds to the space you just have the experience of in your memory. It really, I think, creates a sense of dissociation or disorientation when that space that you're experiencing starts to transform. And so in the Berlin Biennial experience, which actually was itself inspired by the first VR experience I ever did, where I invited people onto my balcony in Miami in my hotel room. So you entered my hotel room, you went onto the balcony, you put on the VR, and you were in that same location in VR, but then the balcony collapsed, and saw that and said, we want this. You have a perfect location in front of Paritserplatz, right overlooking the Brandenburg Gates and all this crazy history of Berlin. And so I recreated that and then took it further. And I think what's tricky about VR in general is that because it is such a new language, it's a new vocabulary, there is still this gimmicky quality to it. There's this sense of it being still a fad, just like film and photography was at the beginning. So there is a sense of having to play with that novelty of it, and the fact that it, on one level, does feel like a roller coaster ride. And I think that attracts like the youth that we're talking about. Well, but also it's exciting for me because it is a new language. It almost feels as if I am one of the pioneers of developing the grammar of it, just like in the early days of cinema with Sergei Eisenstein or W.D. Griffith. And I guess what I'm trying to understand, just like the great early filmmakers or anybody working in a new technological medium, is what is the essential qualities of the medium? What are the limitations of the medium? What is its actual essential nature? And what I've discovered, I guess, in my explorations of this new medium, I mean, first of all, the most obvious is the fact that it is completely immersive. And unlike cinema, the frame is not just like a rectangle or whatever. It is 360. So, and also it has a very, like I said, physical aspect to it. It's not, there's a sense in which you can feel nauseous. There's a violence to the medium in that you are completely ripped from reality and you're trapped in this new reality. And I think one of the main questions I asked, I know you had all the other questions, but they're all related, that I kind of ponder, or that I say through, that I repeat over and over again, is that I think each new technology reveals something new about consciousness, maybe a transformation in human consciousness that's already occurred. So film revealed a transformation, photography revealed, the printing press revealed a transformation. What transformation does VR reveal? And I think it's appropriate that like these days we're always talking about echo chambers and post-truth and fake news, and that VR kind of reflects this reality, a reality in which everybody can have a very completely separate experience of reality because they're so tied to their particular echo chamber, their particular news feed, their particular virtual world. And I think VR reflects that world, the world where we are more and more on one level separate from, we can't completely choose the reality we want to experience. And I guess the fear, the great danger in that is that if you can completely control somebody's reality, what information they're processing, it's incredibly easy to manipulate and also torture a human being. If all their reality, oh yeah, by the way, what you're seeing here is my explorations of a virtual world. It's called Second Life, like about 10 years ago, but it connects to the VR in that throughout my artistic practice, I've been always exploring virtual worlds, at first online and video game worlds, and now it was just the logical next step to start exploring virtual reality. But this is one of the first earliest of virtual online worlds, Second Life. So yeah, I guess VR also, because of its nature, there's profound, dangerous implications, and in a way maybe it just is an extreme or logical conclusion to what's already occurring, in that we can all live in our own virtual realities, just and the information that we're processing is completely can be completely manipulated, and so your view of reality is extremely, I mean, I think for a lot of people it's hard to parse out what's true and what's not, and you can also choose the information you want to process, and therefore, you know, ignore other information and not have to be confronted all the time with violent reality.